What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This video has been kind of a long time coming, and honestly this is probably something I should have done way back before I even started posting, honestly and truly. Obviously we're going to be working on the Nissan Skyline, if you guys can see it behind me, and essentially what we're going to be working on is the overall ride quality and fitment. And the fitment on this car is really nasty looking, and it was, like I said, definitely a long time coming. So let me show you guys what this fitment looks like, and then also like the quality, ride quality as well, kinda. Before I show you, it looks like my little friend came over here. What's up, little dude? What you doing? Being a good little kid. Yeah? You wanna help me out? No? Okay. Little stinker. Alright. So to start things off, really, overall you can see like the gap. So there's the tire, the top of the tire, and then just the overall gap. Now I do have coilovers, at least on the front, but the rear I do not have because of the essentially my driveway. But I'm gonna get that fixed as well. Not the driveway, but the overall like spring rates on the coilovers that I have. I think originally we were running like a 50K spring, and then we switched over to 6K, and 6K is too soft and would bottom out a lot. But we got that. Also gonna have that problem being fixed, and as you guys can see, if you guys can see it, there's almost probably an inch difference right in there as well. So we're going to try to get these guys to come out more. When I rebuilt my wheels, I didn't technically measure it properly, and it kind of screwed myself over, so I might have to rebuild them. But for now, we're probably just going to use spacers. My little friend seems to be very needy today. And just for essentially a better look as to what I'm working with, you can see it just right here. This is a really good and easy way to see it, and even on the front tire you can kind of see how much it needs to come out and then down. So like I said, we're going to work on that, and then I'll show you guys on the front tires as well. The front tires I think are even worse, and you can definitely see it. There's a good amount of gap there. Now as far as where they sit, I feel like if I just push these out, it should sit right where I need it to be. I do got to fix the gap into that a little bit, but it's not too bad. And same thing with the other side. It sits perfectly, the front tire does, but the rear tire does not sit like lowered, but the front tire sits perfect. It just needs to be brought out, and same with that rear tire. Now, essentially, how are we going to fix this issue? With Neomax, originally when I was running on this car, I was running 50K springs is what originally came with this car when I first bought it on the coilovers. We are now running no coilovers on the back, and we're running coilovers on the front at a 6K spring rate, and it's very soft, and essentially caused our wiring issue on that one video and knocked out the whole cabin's power. And I can't run anything on the rear because the 6 spring was way too soft, and it was just smoke on the tires and everything. It was terrible and miserable. Would not recommend that. But Neomax, they recommended 8K and 12K. So this is 12K, and I think this is 8K springs. 8K is going to be for the rear, and then 12K is going to be for the front. Stiffen it up almost double that, which is good, and then hopefully soften that up as well so it don't bottom out as bad. Now to solve my bottoming out issue, we got the bump stops. Neomax Silvers do not come with these. Essentially I would probably get longer ones than this. I don't know if these will even work, but they're pretty cheap. I think just all 4 of these was like $40 or so. I'm not 100% sure. And to get over the issue of the tires not out far enough when I rebuilt them, what we're going to run for just the time being, because I'm looking at new wheels for this, I'm not going to lie, I want to kind of build a new set and keep these as spares. We're kind of going to run spacers for the time being. Now these spacers are not the ones that are going to be actually on the car. These are just test spacers. I have like 1 inch, 2 inch test spacers that I can just use, and then we'll get like direct fit ones for it as well that have the proper hub centric rings and stuff like that. But yeah, we're just going to use these for the time being to test it out and see what we can come up with. But yeah, that's essentially what we're going to do on the Skyline, is kind of work on all of this stuff and essentially get the fitment hopefully better, fingers crossed. But first things first, let's start with the rear. Alrighty, this is kind of becoming a mess. These original spacers, I was using those guys. The black ones do not fit. They're actually for my Jeeps, so they have a 5 by 4.5, which is the same lug pattern, but then there's the adapter, so that's an actual adapter. It's not really a spacer. The ones I have now, these guys, that was usually on my old setup long time ago when I had my STR 903s on here. These guys, I somehow lost the lug nuts for them that went on the STR 903s. Had no issue running those lug nuts. I had no issue running these lug nuts because of the STR 903s, but since I have my Avantgarde F110s, this lug nut is too big for these. So we're kind of ballparking it right now, which kind of sucks. I was hoping to at least kind of get a rough draft, but as far as where it sits, it's not all that bad. Got a little bit of poke fitment, so we might have to go with a 0.75 on like a 3/4 inch spacer probably. But other than that, guys, I mean, right to the body, it's not terrible. It is not terrible, though I do wish the tire was a little meatier, because it does not look like a baby tire on there. But yeah, I think what we're going to do is not worry too much about the tires pushing out for the time being. What we're going to do is swap over the coilovers and the springs and the dampeners. But yeah, it kind of sucks. I was really hoping to get those spacers on this, at least just for the time being, to kind of get a rough draft of what I want and what I'm looking at. But with everything kind of running on the old setup, and this is all a new setup, it's not really connecting too well. So let's get the coilovers on both sides on these, and yeah, let's work on that. All right, so as stated, we are not running coilovers on the rear. We are running I think this is like a KYB shock, and these are some cheap like lowering springs off a 240. So if you do have a Skyline, these are adjustable, so there's like a little dampener like right here. They are adjustable. They're great. A lot of people recommend them if you want to go like cheap but also want to keep like ride quality decently nice. Essentially though, we got my coilovers here. They're running a 6K spring. Now I do have these upside down. I don't know why. I don't think it really matters, but yeah, you can see right there, if it'll focus, the 6K spring, and we're going to swap it out with the 8K, and hopefully these will ride a little nicer and not bottom out. We're also going to install the bump stops into here, so you can see there's like nothing into this at all, and that bump stop I think sits right there, and then with the compression it should sit at least lower enough to where it hits. It'll hit the bump stop first, and it won't hit the top of this guy right here. So let's tear these apart, get these all disassembled, remove that, and yeah, see what we can come up with all of this. Super simple, super easy install. You can actually see there's barely enough room right in there for a finger with these bump stops, which is really good because now I can get it as low as possible. What I might do though is add maybe like a couple washers in here eventually. I think the spring is stiff enough though that it might probably barely use these bump stops, but I'm still going to add a couple washers probably just in there, just for safe measures. That way this is fully capable of not hitting or bottoming out on the tub. But what we're going to do is we're going to remove the old guys and put in the new guys. got the coils installed. It was actually very, very easy. What we're going to do now is install the wheels back onto here and then kind of adjust it the way we want. Like I said, there is a little bit of a gap, but I'm hoping with the squat it'll kind of push down the rubber stop and the gap. I don't know if it'll show, but you can barely see there's like a little gap right there. It's hard to focus right now, but it does look really good. That white kind of looks good with the Neo Maxes and with the new control arms as well. Well, I should say used. I've been running these for quite a bit now. But let's put the tire back on this and then kind of adjust it how we want and see if it rides any nicer or any worse. Now, my camera is about to die, but I don't know exactly. Honestly, it looks a lot better. I think the overall, like, I want to keep at least an inch away from the fenders as much as possible. But overall, guys, I think that looks a lot better as where it was. Now, again, you can definitely see how much we got to bring it out. So I'd say that inch spacer is more than likely possible. Trying to get it as much as possible. Yeah, so we probably do need that inch spacer. I did not get the right spacers. That's my own fault. I thought I had it or it would work with the old setup. It does not work with the new setup though. But yeah, that looks honestly amazing though already, and it has a pretty much gap, so these springs might work better than the ones I have now. Let me check the other side here. Again, still got that little gap on the other side, but it looks, well, I don't know. This side might need a little bit more load to it. But other than that, I think if we just pull it out, the tire out just a little bit, we'd have a nice looking ride with decent fitment. I won't say it'd be great, but maybe drop it 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch on this side, but still, I mean, right where the tire is. All right, first test drive. I can safely say I already got stuck on the driveway, but it's not as bad as what I had when I had 5K springs. But damn, oh my days, you can tell how bad my driveway is. If you guys don't know and you want to complain and sit here and say like, oh, just lower it, this is how bad my driveway is, people. This is miserable to come up and down on. Ooh, you can see, like, I have to like really grip the steering wheel. It'll take you wherever it wants to. Now I am using my phone. My camera did die. Yeah, see, we barely made it out of there. I had to like kind of floor it a bit. Now I'm not gonna go fast. I don't got much tightened down or even torqued. We're just gonna take it slow. But yeah, that's my driveway. For those people that want to complain and say, oh, you just need to lower your car, I can't. Trust me, I wish I could. I wish I had my airbags still. My airbags were amazing. Honestly though, it does drive better. It doesn't have much of a bounce when it did with the 6K. The 6K, and it's not rubbing as bad. I've noticed that right away, right off the spat. It's not hitting, it's not rubbing anything. The turning is actually a little bit better. Now with the spacers, it's probably gonna get worse. But yeah, I'm gonna turn around up here. There's a nice little turnaround I can do. So let me try to video it coming up the driveway. All right, we did a nice little turnaround. Didn't get stuck though. I can definitely say the driveway is where the problem is. This is why I haven't lowered this vehicle, and this is why it usually doesn't sit on coilovers. The front coilovers have been on because it actually kind of doesn't do too bad, but it's the, ooh, you can tell the back roads. The back roads are terrible. They don't pave this stuff. They put like coal patch in it. Miserable. Here's where I'm gonna have to floor it, and I don't know if I'm gonna even record this because I'm more than likely gonna get stuck. So if I record this and you guys see this, you're in luck. But more than likely, I'm gonna get stuck. Of course, you always get people that don't drive on their side of the road. All right, Now here's the fun part. Nobody's behind me. Just gonna have to floor it. Ooh, rubbed a little bit on the back. Oh my fucking days. She's trying. I've never had to beat on this thing, but holy hell. She's not rubbing though, I'll give her credit. But days. She's making it. Oh my God. Yeah, no, she ain't rubbing though. Them bump stops, we putting them to work. Yup, if it makes it past this, we'll be good. Oh my days. No way. No fucking. Okay, damn. Holy crap. That was something else. I have never in a million years had to floor it up that driveway like that. But the bump stops and the coilovers worked. That's the amazing part. I heard it scrape once. Oh my day. Hold on. Let me park this and let me go check out the damage and see how bad it was. Okay. That was scary. That was scary. Let's start with that off. That was scary. Again, I'm on my phone, so if the audio changes, I apologize. But there's no damage. There's no damage. And the tires aren't even worn. Like, I know where the previous scratches are and everything. Nothing. Not the front didn't hit, the rear didn't hit. And it's not lowered, but it is lowered. And it's on coilovers. So honestly, that's a win. But oh my days, man. Again, if you guys don't know, people complain all the time that it's not lowered. It's lowered now. It's lowered. It's a lot lower. It could be lower, but we're not going to. Well, maybe. I don't know yet. We might. But yeah, so in case you guys don't know, I did do the front off camera. The rears I did already. The front I decided to knock them off because my camera died right as I was waiting for it, and it would take forever to get the charger done. Ignore the Bondo. We're still working on this, by the way, guys. So I removed the little like divots here and went straight with just these. Now the hardware does poke up, but for an example, here's the little divots, and the only reason I went with that to kind of test it is because the bolts I used don't line up at all, some of them. And so I kind of want to go with a nice cleaner look as to this. I'm sorry to get sidetracked, but I wanted to go with a cleaner look, and I figured I already did this fender, why not do this guy and kind of practice with it. And so for an example, I haven't finished sanding here because it was started to snow and everything like that, but here's one that without it, or with it, the rivet and that little bump, and then here's some without it, and it's a lot cleaner, a lot smoother looking. And I don't mind the hardware sticking out just a little bit. I would like it to stick in, but it does give it a nicer look to it. It's kind of the reason why I've went with the one-piece fender up here, is because it does give a nicer look and it doesn't have that just body line sticking out like that. Anyway, back to this though. This tire did not hit. Now this does need to be lowered, the front, but it did not hit. You can see the little silver part right there. That's where it's been hitting, and it's been eating the hell out of these tires. But it didn't hit. It turned a lot better, which probably won't when we add the 1-inch spacers, which I did order. Fingers crossed those come in. And when I was looking for some parts for this car, I found the other lug nuts. Now I'm missing. I don't know what the hell that was. Anyway, I found the other lug nuts. So I actually found the other two that I've been missing for a good minute, and I've only been running 4 on this rear. Kind of stupid, but it kind of sucks because I've in the midst of replacing these as well. I've got some from, I think, GK Tech, and I really like this style. These guys hold up really good and still have the finish, and I've been running those for probably 4 years now, and they still have a nice black finish to it. Now there is a little bit of rust, but I take these on and off constantly, and there's nothing wrong with those. So big shout out to GK Tech for really nice lug nuts. But yeah, no, there's no damage whatsoever. The tires are in nice shape. I did bottom out once, but that was when I hit the first biggest bump. Other than that, it was I wouldn't say a smooth ride, but it was better than, well, I wouldn't say it's better than shocks. It's not better than shocks, but at least it's lowered and it didn't bottom out, which is a big plus.